Welcome in, guys. It is Brad with College SportsCast. We have an exciting week to talk about here with Kentucky basketball, both with the women's and the men's. Women's are 4-0 in the SEC, and the men's got a big win after a tough loss to Mississippi State. Welcome in, guys. It is Brad with College SportsCast. Hopefully, I'll have Hammonds on here with me here in a few minutes. He's running a little bit behind, but I went ahead and started our show because I was a few minutes late. But welcome in. It is College SportsCast, the Big Blue HoopsCast. This is episode 8. We are on week 21, season 3. And we appreciate you guys being with us. If you are on Facebook, just to let you guys know, you can help support us now by sending stars. It does help us earn a little bit of money, or you can subscribe to our page. I am starting a new chat for subscribers chat. Also have your own page. It's only 99 cents a month to do that. And we appreciate you. So both of those help us earn a little bit of money to continue to make more content for you guys. And we are happy to be a part of Stadium Rant now as well. I've got Hammonds on here with me. What's up, Hammonds?
What's up, man?
I told him that you was running a few minutes behind, but we were going to get things going.
Yeah.
So, but talking about Stadium Rant here real quick, we are both part of Stadium Rant now, and the show is presented by Stadium Rant. I do want to get their logo up real quick in the top right corner. Got them up there. And we appreciate Stadium Rant. Check us out. We're writing tons of articles. John's been busy bee. I've got about 7 or 8 up this month. So check them out. I just want to get a shout out to them at the beginning of the show, and we appreciate them. So check them out, guys. All right. Got the Facebook and everything out of the way here. John, the women, they're still 4-0. There's only 3 undefeated teams in the SEC. You got South Carolina, LSU, and Kentucky is 4-0 in the SEC.
I mean, it's impressive. Counting the Florida game, they had their 7th win in a row, 3rd consecutive start, Southeastern Conference play. Their 2nd straight win on the road, and then the win against Auburn. They hammered Florida. You had Georgia Moore. She carried the load. She had 18. Deja Lawrence had 14. Clara Strack had, I think, 12. While they shot the ball really good, it was their defense that was impressive against the Gators. They only shot
going on the road, John, and the SEC is always tough. They had to go into Gainesville. This Florida team spanked. They won big yesterday. Scored 93 points yesterday, and won big. Yesterday, and Kentucky held them to 55. I mean, people are talking about Kentucky's offense and their scoring, but I don't think their defense is getting enough credit. They are locking down teams. No SEC team so far has shot better than 39% against this girls team. I mean, they're really playing good defense.
And I think too, they caused the Gators to commit 20 turnovers, which most of the time leads to easy offense on the other end. I think it was the 7th time Kentucky held their opponent to under 55 points, which is pretty impressive. And it just shows how intense they can be on the defensive end. Clara
They're leading the
Strack
country in blocks as well.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't get enough pub.
No,
they are leading the country in blocks.
It don't. They're playing at an elite level right now. Georgia Amore is playing at an elite level. She's guiding this team, being the leader she is, the captain that she is. There's just so much to love about this team, Brad. The way they play, just the way they play together, the way they run things on offense. There's just a lot to like about what Kenny Brooks has brought from Virginia Tech over to Lexington.
Absolutely. Talking about this Florida game, you're right. Amore did have 18. She led them. D-Law, as us, the team and stuff, likes to call her. Deja Lawrence is her name, but her nickname on the team is D-Law. She had 14. She's a huge outside threat. She's shooting over 45%, and she was 4 of 9 yesterday. I mean, she's hit over 3 3-pointers in about half of the game so far. Of course, Clara Strack against Florida had 12 points, 8 rebounds, and they won by plus 16, which is big. They have won 12 of their 15 games by 16 or more points.
Well, the thing, too, that I really like is, they can change the way they play a lot. You got this play that they play offense, and then they can play defense a certain way. They can switch things up. There's not really a different one way that they can just go and beat you. You know what I mean? They can beat you.
Yeah, man. Against Florida here, John, they played great defense. They turned them over. They turned them over. They scored off of turnovers a lot in this game. And then the Auburn game that we talked about, they scored a lot on fast break and getting out and dropping bombs on fast break.
Yeah, I mean, there's different ways they can win this, or they can win games. They got off to a hot start in the Auburn game in the second half. Strack started it. Hassett I think she hit a 3 going into the third quarter, and it was just after that, Auburn, they just buried Auburn. And pretty much the game, now Auburn did get, I think they got within like 5, maybe 6. Then Lawrence hit a 3. Yeah, and it just seemed like Lawrence done it again. Yeah. Lawrence is just I'm going to tell you, man, Deja Lawrence has been a major transfer addition for Kenny Brooks.
Absolutely. I mean, she's one of the top 3-point shooters in the country. She has 43 3-pointers made on the year through 16 games.
Unbelievable talent.
She's shooting over 45%. I mean, she's really lighting it up. Now, I do want to get a little bit of highlights in here. This is highlights from the Florida game on the road. And getting road wins in the SEC is not only tough, it's vital.
All right, good team. We got to go out. We got to make sure we take care of business. All right, be you. Be the best version of yourself, all right?
Amore, right side, lay in good with the right hand.
And Strack starting that block party early.
Right side of 3 in the air. Bottom. Here's Amore picking up her dribble. Amore driving. Amore off the glass and in. Count it and 1. 2-on-1. Amore fakes the dish. Drives. Reverse layup with the right hand is good.
Wow, the way that she's able to split that screen.
Silva goes around O'Neal and lays it in with the right hand. Spins. Fadeaway shot off the right block is good. Off the steal, Amore goes coast to coast. Loose ball picked up by Lawrence. Lawrence driving amongst the orange jersey, scores. A lob deflected by Silva. 10-footer good. Finds Blue in the left corner for 3. Bottom! Lawrence with a huge for Kentucky. Handoff to Rowe. Rowe fakes the handoff, drives baseline, 5-foot floater, good. Final score tonight at Exactech Arena, Kentucky 71, Florida 55.
And they won that game, at a pretty tough environment. The O Dome is one of the
Hey,
toughest
Johnny,
places,
glad to have you with us.
one of the toughest places to play in college basketball. So props to them. They're just playing at an elite level right now. This is the first. Here's another key stat, Brad, that I like. They're undefeated in SEC play for the first time since the 13th season, since 13. And if anybody remembers who that team was, that was the team that went to the Elite Eight.
Yep, they went 30-6
with Matthew Mitchell.
And finished second in the Southeastern Conference, went 30-6 and went to the Elite Eight, and got knocked out by the champions UConn. Actually,
UConn was really, really good that year, and unfortunately we run into a buzzsaw. But it happens. But that's probably the, hey, it's always nice to know that the girls' team is getting to that level again, and seeing that level again.
Listen, Kenny's doing a fantastic job, so I'll get to him a little bit more. But before we do that, let's talk a little bit about the Auburn game yesterday. They were back at home yesterday. This game was on SEC Network. I know that some fans have been asking about SEC Network, and because they've been on Plus a lot. These two games this week were both on SEC Network, so I hope some fans got to sit back and watch these girls play because they are playing lights out. They moved to 15-1 yesterday, 4-0 in the SEC. And this Auburn women's team is really physical, maybe one of the more physical teams in the SEC. Boston and Gaston were fantastic yesterday. Gaston had 23. She's a big physical girl down low. They fed her the ball a lot. And our girls who have a lot of length took that physical play and still ran away with the win 80-61 here.
But, they didn't really shoot the ball that well, Brad. They had that first quarter. They just didn't. It was just kind of lackluster. They missed a couple free throws.
Most normal people do, Josh.
And they had 16 points. They finished, I think, with 16 points in the first quarter. Second quarter was sort of the same a little bit. They
had an 11-point lead at halftime.
They did. I mean, they didn't shoot the greatest, but they, crazy enough, Auburn out-rebounded the Cats.
They did
at halftime, and that was kind of
they actually out-rebounded them for the game, 38-32. And to be honest with you, this is a tall girls team. They haven't got out-rebounded a lot, but they did yesterday.
I'm going to tell you, when Kentucky needed a run and Kentucky needed a basket,
it was these two a whole lot.
Who'd they turn to? Amore and Deja Lawrence.
Amore and Deja Lawrence both had 21 yesterday. D-Law was 4 of 9 from the three-point line. Again, like I said, she's shooting 45%. I think she has 43 three-pointers on the year through 16 games. And then Amore, while she kind of struggled a little bit from the three yesterday, I think she hit one.
Fast track. If you look at her line, it's 6 of 8.
Yeah.
From the
yeah.
what more can you say about what?
And I've got to throw in Tayana Key yesterday. Like she's 6'4", which is big for a girl, for a woman, and she's playing like point forward. I mean, she's bringing the ball down the floor. She's dropping dimes. I mean, she was really playing well yesterday. And between these two, they had 6 blocks as well yesterday. I think Strack had 4, Key had 2. Between these two players, again, they held Auburn to under 35% shooting yesterday. So despite getting out rebounded, they still played really well. And again, the girls won 80-61 yesterday. Here is some Auburn highlights from the game yesterday. This is a little bit – I want you to watch. I think it shows Amore when she absolutely breaks ankles in one play.
Raise your ya. Raise your ya.
Just a quick little clip. Yeah, quick little clip of the Auburn game yesterday for the girls. Guys, if you haven't watched them, go watch this girls team play. They're going to make some noise.
They're good.
Like I said, they are 4-0 in the SEC. John and I have already talked about it. I will put it up on the screen. It's the first time since 2013 that they have been 4-0 in the SEC. And that was a really good Matthew Mitchell team. We already talked a little bit about that team. Today, the women have moved up to 12 in the AP poll. That's the highest ranking of the year so far for them, sitting at 15-1. They are 17th.
I think it's fair. I think they haven't, I don't think they've been – I wouldn't say they've disrespected, but I feel like that they've deserved a little bit higher.
They have, I think. They finally moved up 3 spots this week after a couple of nice wins.
And last I looked, if I'm not mistaken, Brad, they moved up in the bracketology, which to me it's early to talk bracketology right now. It's still early in January. But if you're a bracketologist,
we're getting close to mid-January here, so it's January 13th.
I always get tickled at T3 bracketology.
Yeah.
He gets on X, and he always tells folks the net is not a ranking; it's a tool.
Yeah.
And he has to remind people every day about it, and people lose their minds over this bracketology stuff.
Here's the thing with the women, John, that I think everybody needs to know about. In the women's game, it's a little bit different. They don't have sites in the first and second round. So the top 4 seeds, if you can get that top 4 seeds, you get home court advantage in the first 2 rounds of the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, it's a little bit different than the men. Now, I will say that I miss the men's part of the side of it when they used to play at arenas and they didn't have all this extra stuff with the March Madness logos, all that good stuff. You had just the regular old Kentucky floor just written out with NCAA on the side, like the old school stuff, like from the early 90s. Like I miss that stuff.
The women's game is kind of old school basketball, really. There's a lot of rules and a lot of stuff
in that regard. Yeah.
Yep. That's kind of old school basketball. So moving up into that 3 seed is definitely an advantage. We're hoping that the women can stay there. Kenny Brooks has them rolling, and we will see this week. They actually have a they don't play midweek this week. The girls don't.
They play Sunday.
They play Sunday, and they play on the road at Georgia. Georgia's like 9-9. They're really not that great of a team, to be quite honest with you. It is a game that the girls should win. And looking ahead, John, they have 3 games in a row here. To be honest with you, it's games, they're SEC games, and 2 of them's on the road, so you never know. But in all honesty, they're against some teams, Georgia, Missouri, that they really should, and Arkansas, that they really should beat and win. There is a chance.
Yeah, man.
I said Missouri. It's Georgia, Texas A&M, and Arkansas. That's their next 3 games.
And we kind of mentioned the whole Arkansas thing with Coach Neighbors. They're struggling mightily this year. They just got pistol whipped by Tennessee. I think it was yesterday? They had really rough.
Beat by 30.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
And you had LSU hit that game winner against Tennessee. But this past week, you had South Carolina whip Texas, which I was kind of surprised about.
Well, that was a surprise me. I actually wrote an article. Check it out, Stadium Rant. I released one this evening about the Texas-South Carolina game.
So, SEC's going to up top's going to be, it's going to be tough.
I just want to say there is a couple of things here that I want to say real quick before we move on to the men's. Kenny Brooks, I was in the press conference last night after the game and was kind of surprised. We all didn't know this, but his mother was in town, and she snuck in the back of the room during the press conference. And one of the reporters asked about her while she was in the room. And if you have not seen the post-game press conference last night with Kenny Brooks, as a fan, I know Mark Pope has done some stuff and that's been talked about, but if you haven't seen the press conference last night, Kenny Brooks absolutely lit up when his mother was brought up and talking about his mom, talking about not only his mom, but what family means to him, what his players mean to him, just like family. It was a fantastic answer to a question last night in the press conference. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It was in the post-game press conference after the Auburn win last night. And I wanted to talk a little bit about that because I know Pope, is doing some things with fans and stuff. But the family atmosphere that Kenny Brooks has put together in a short amount of time is very impressive.
I just got to say real quick, I just now noticed, how do you not have the SEC network, Josh? Like, how do you not have the SEC network?
Yeah,
I don't know if he's joking or
no, he's not joking. No, he's not.
How do you not have the SEC network?
What's up, Madeline?
That's a head scratcher for me. Like, how do you not have the SEC network?
I ain't going to get into it with him on that. But
and I say that because that's where a majority of the games are going to be. Because
I know.
I mean,
I know. But Josh fusses about it all the time. So I don't, which doesn't make any sense to me. All right. Now we're going to move on to the men. I want to start this out. You got to talk about some of the bad. I'm not going to stay on it very long, but Kentucky did lose a game earlier in the week on Tuesday night last week, and they lost at Georgia. Really did not play well against Georgia, John.
Well, you know, a lot of that, listen, okay, let me rephrase that. You know, a lot of people's going to look at the free throw differential. The officiating had a lot to do with this game. But I'm going to be honest with you, Brad. When you shoot 12.
There you go, Madeline. That's how you do it right there.
When you shoot 12 of, 26 from three, you're not going to win many basketball games.
Well, the officiating was bad, but the officiating wasn't just bad calls. It was very poorly managed game, going to the monitor, allowing just severely physical play. It was just a poor managed game.
Yeah, it was very.
The game took 2 hours and 40 minutes to complete. Most basketball games is 2 hours.
You know, and every time Kentucky tried to make it physical, I brought that out in an article this past week. I wrote about the post game, and it just seemed like every time Kentucky tried to.
We're going to talk about that in just a few. I promise.
Kentucky tried to make it physical, and they just simply wouldn't let them. And if Georgia made a physical play, Kentucky was called for a foul. And when you're on the road in the SEC and you're not getting those kind of calls, and you're not hitting what your averages are from the field, you're not going to win many basketball games.
It was an ugly game and an ugly loss, and we're going to move on from that.
And I kind of want to say real quick, shout out Georgia. Shout out Georgia, 23rd today. I'm impressed what Mike White's done with them.
Come off of that win and beat Oklahoma over the weekend.
Yeah, so, I mean they've had a really good run the last couple of games. Actually, the whole year. I think they're 14 and 2 maybe
2 or something like that. Yep,
very impressive.
All right, so then we get a big bounce back win in Starkville over Mississippi State on Saturday night. This was a late game on Saturday night. We had to kind of wait all day long. I know for myself, I was kind of dreading it. I was like, after the Georgia loss all week long, I'm not going to lie, I was not feeling great about this game. I was kind of dreading this game. I hated that this game was so late. It was one of the later games on Saturday, and it felt like we had to wait all day long.
Well, when you have those late games, you feel like you're the only team left to play, but there wasn't. You had Alabama and A&M was playing. I think Tennessee was just getting finished with Texas. You know, it's tough to sit around all day.
Both of those, Madeline.
You know, it's tough to sit around all day long, Brad, and let that loss marinate like it did against Georgia and have to jump right back into a hostile environment. And shout out to that Mississippi State arena and the hump and the fans.
Man,
they made that.
That
was one of the most impressive.
It's always a tough place to play.
It was a very fun environment.
All right, we got to get to Jaxson Robinson because last week on Monday night, and I will own up to my own things here on my own takes, I kind of joked around and said, "Where have you gone, Mr. Robinson?" and all this stuff with a little bit of some jokes and some jabs at Jaxson Robinson. Despite I knew he was working on it, he bounced back against Mississippi State Saturday night, scored 27 big points, and led us. And that is the Jaxson Robinson we need.
It is. You know, Kentucky is this is a Kentucky team that, opponents are going to have to figure out pick your poison. You got Kobe Brea, you got Ainsley Almanor. We'll talk about him in a minute. Jaxson Robinson. They can come at you in waves. Like offensively, when they get in the groove that they got in to start the second half, go up 14, that team can beat anybody. Then there's that one group of team where they struggle, can't shoot, that they just simply can't beat anybody.
I've got some highlights here of Jaxson, and let's show the highlights, and then we'll continue to talk about him for just a second.
Rebound ripped off by Williams out to Robinson in the corner. Fake slides left. He's wide open for a three. It's nice. Good. Diagonal pass to Garrison over to Robinson. Wide open. Hits a three off the left wing. Can't get a shot over to Robinson. Deep three. Right side. Money. But he tipped it. Gets the three in transition. Nice. It's good. Nice. Comes into the lane. Fires it to the left corner. Robinson's three. Good. Yes. Woko has him. Robinson's going to shoot a deep three. Made it. Yeah. Williams walks to his right. Gets it to Robinson. He lets it fly. Made it again. Man. Pass to Almanor after Robinson. Takes the three. Moves in. 18-footer. Yes. Got it.
I'm going to tell you, right there, when he hit that shot, I think, was it to put him up three with like a minute to go? That was a crucial shot because I felt like Mississippi State was kind of teetering on getting back in the game, and you kind of put it kind of length yourself to make Mississippi State try to tie the game. There was a couple times where I felt like there was different momentum changes, things that, you had – my biggest thing was when – and I wasn't a huge fan of it, Brad, was when Mark Pope put him on the bench with maybe 10 minutes to go.
No. It was more than that. Wait a second. That was what I was going to talk about before we moved on from Jaxson. So my biggest gripe all night long on this game was Jaxson was red hot. Come out of halftime, knocked down 3 straight threes, was filling it up. He pushed our lead out to about 12. We wound up with about 14 there, but he pushed it out to about 12 on his own. And with about 17 minutes to go, Pope took him out of the lineup, okay? I'm okay with the rest. But we did not see Jaxson Robinson go back into the lineup until there was 9 minutes and something on the clock. He's set for 7 minutes. Meanwhile, we lost in a 14-point lead while he was sitting on the bench. And I was screaming, where is Jaxson Robinson? I don't understand why he was on the bench for so long.
To be
it
fair,
almost cost us the game.
To be fair, Brad, not that to take away what Pope did, but sometimes you got to rest guys. Like, you can't just put them in there 40 minutes.
A rest in a game is 2 or 3 minutes, man, on the clock. You don't rest them for 7 minutes, especially when you're red hot. He was on fire.
Yeah, but maybe
he had 25 points with 17 minutes to go. He took him out, and he lost his he lost his fire. He wound up hitting that one shot. He scored 2 points after he come back in.
There's been a couple times this year where Pope has done some odd things like that, where he's left, like Kobe Brea. It was a game where he left him out for a long period of time. There's sometimes I just question that, what he's trying to do. Maybe giving extra guys work. Travis Perry, Brea, the ones that, Ainsley Almanor. Maybe Ainsley Almanor came in and like you said, Brad.
Jonathan, I'm not saying that there wasn't. All I'm saying is leaving him out that long almost cost us the game, because they took the momentum in this game, wind up taking a lead when we had a 14-point lead. That's all I'm saying.
Here's another thing to add to this game. Ainsley Almanor, man,
was clutch. The only reason after the Robinson was setting out for so long and we lost the momentum, I'm going to tell y'all, the only reason we won this game was because of Ainsley Almanor. That's it. He was absolutely clutch.
Well, and
if you ask me,
he was a big surprise too. Really, I mean, he's not really done much. I mean, he did early in the year, but he hasn't really done much lately. And
not on the big stage, not like that.
He come from Florida and Dickinson. We had the big game against Purdue a couple years ago. He came in with 3 points in SEC play, but he hit a few threes.
Let's watch. Hold on. Let's watch because I got some highlights.
Butler to Almanor, open three. He'll take it. Hit it.
You are. You're good enough.
Again, it's like 3 fouls in the one sequence. So he was trying to take it from Butler. 3, right side. Good for Almanor. 2 in a row. Williams hands it back to Almanor. Open 3 straight away. Made it again.
I mean, those 3 was really huge.
I'm telling you, it's what kept us the momentum to win this game.
Well, and there was a lot of talk going into the summer that how would he respond to SEC play? How would he react? Going from Florida and Dickinson to there. And for me, it's plain and simple. If he can do the things he did at Mississippi State on the big stage, he can do that moving forward in SEC play. And I'm going to say this too, Brad. There was a time there where, Mississippi State got a 3 and we got a foul caught on us, which I didn't agree with, on Amari Williams, where it banked in and it might have been Garrison. I can't remember. But the call was I didn't like it at the time. Mississippi State goes up 2. And then we lose the ball out of bounds with 7 minutes to go, up down 2 with them on the ball. And the crowd going berserk at that time. I really thought that the game was over.
And then Ainsley Almanor come in and started busting threes.
I'm going to tell you another key to the game, Brad, real quick.
Right before halftime was another key to this game.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you right here.
Right side. Angles over to the right. Pump fake. Gets an open look. Lets it fly. Got him right at the buzzer. Butler comes into the lane. Fires it to the left corner. Robinson's 3. Good.
Yes.
2 hands for Kentucky. Butler up the middle of the floor over to Oweh. Oweh drives and dunks off the left wing. Coming down to 9 minutes to play. Cats by 1. Butler hits a 3 from deep in the left corner. Great defensive possession. That is a foul on Matthews. Again, it's like 3 fouls in the one sequence. So he was trying to take it from Butler. 3, right side. Good for Almanor. 2 in a row. 89-84 Kentucky. Butler goes through the lane on a backdoor cut. Gets the pass and scores it. Butler slides left. Butler drives. He spins, floats it up. Good.
Big shot.
Butler had some big.
Butler.
He had some key moments in this game, and the second part of this, I kind of wanted to jump at Brad real quick as we wind down this show. Hubbard's foul trouble was a big deal for Mississippi State. He did not shoot the ball really well. He's usually one that when he catches and shoots it, he's pretty much on target automatic. During that run, when he was out, Almanor had some really big threes. By when he come back, I think Kentucky had a 4-point lead. He had a couple looks with 2 minutes to go that probably would have tied the game or even given the Bulldogs the lead. And I'm going to tell you another play in this game is R.J. Melendez. The game was, I think, a 4 or was it a 6-point, maybe 5. He misses a front end of a 1-and-1 that would have cut the game to 3 points.
Yeah.
And that kind of changed the game as well.
John, before we move on from this game, and we did this in the Georgia game, and we've done this in 2 or 3 other games, and I've got a question for you that I'm having a hard time. I have been a basketball junkie all my life, played, coached. I mean, I've done it all in basketball. Ever since 1986, when the three-point line was introduced to the game, at every practice, at every league, whether you're coaching 5th graders or NBA or college, it is absolutely enriched in your soul that you do not foul a three-point shooter. Kentucky, in this one game, Mississippi State fouled not 1, not 2, but 3 times. Fouled three-point shooters. It blows my mind. Like, what is going on? They did it 2 or 3 times against Georgia as well. What is going on with this team that they are fouling three-point shooters?
It's a mental thing. A lot of times, Brad, you get in the moment of the game and you don't pay attention. You know, Brandon Garrison's done it a couple of times, maybe 3 times. Lamont Butler's had it happen to him. Kobe Bryant's had it. It's just
it's insane. I have never seen one team have so many fouls on three-point shooters ever in my life.
That's going to hurt you in a key game when something like that happens and you get into a tight situation. That could really hurt a team if a team's up or if a team's down. I think that little aspect of the defensive part needs to change. Like, stay away from it. Now, sometimes you can't help it because you're getting that idea that you're trying to force everything. You're trying to force turnovers, and you get in the way, and bam, you hit a guy. But Brad, to be fair, some of those calls, it was even the Georgia game one of the Georgia games.
There was one in the Georgia game that was BS. Okay, I get it.
It was terrible. It was terrible.
Yeah,
I think it was Lamont Butler.
It was on Butler.
It was terrible. Let's be honest. But other than that, I mean, you got to stay away from the three-point shooter.
But that's like the cardinal sin of basketball. I mean, you just don't do it. But somehow this team seems to just find a way to foul the three-point shooter. And I don't get it. I don't like it. It makes no sense to me. I was screaming at the TV the other night when they done it for a 3rd time. I mean, how do you let that happen? I don't understand. I really don't.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't either. I don't.
You can coach middle school kids and they know better than that.
Yeah, it happens though in the heat of the game. Sometimes you have a mental lapse, and it just, like I said, you don't want to do it, but sometimes it happens. So.
All right, so new poll comes out today. Kentucky drops after the Georgia loss and the Mississippi State win. They drop from 6 to 8. Are you okay with Kentucky's position in the AP poll?
I am. I think it's fair. Now, I'll say that, I kind of agree with Jack Pilgrim. He mentioned he covers KSR. I kind of, I made a comment about it too. They look at – the thing is they're looking at losses more than they're looking at road losses, more than they're looking at top 15 wins to an unranked team. You lose to an unranked team, you beat a top 12 team. It obviously should matter. But
it's kind of odd because 2 of the 7 teams ranked above us, Kentucky beat.
But here's the problem.
They beat
that
Duke.
I have.
They beat Florida.
Here's the problem I have with the AP poll and the voters, and I'm not trying to be critical of anybody. And now there's a few on there that watch ball, Jeff Goodman, a few others, but there's just some guys on that or whoever.
Thank you, Johnny. Seriously, I was losing my mind the other night on that. I'm not even playing.
There's some on the poll on the voter poll that simply just do not watch basketball. Just simply do not. They go based off what results, and to me, that's I don't know. I've made my mark known last year.
The only thing that's odd with me, listen, Kentucky was 6. They got beat by Georgia. They bounced back Mississippi State. I'm okay with the 8, I guess. What's odd to me is looking at it is we have beat Duke and we have beat Florida. And both of those teams are above us in the poll. It's just like, wait a second. I guess I'm so used to the football polls. It's a little different in basketball, but
it is. It's a little different. But
I'm
not a big fan. I'm not a big fan of some of the. I wouldn't say I'm not a fan of them. I'm just not a fan of how they vote, because there's certain things that just they apparently some don't any ball at all. So, but Brad, I got to run real quick. I got to run. But
all right.
Thanks for letting me jump on the show. I want to say something real quick before we get started on the Texas A&M game. Big week coming up with A&M and Alabama. Alabama is a really good offensive team, and you got Texas A&M coming in. Hopefully, we don't know
number 11 and what number 4 in Bama 4.
And some of them we don't even know if Wade Taylor's going to play tomorrow night. He most likely will, knowing Kentucky. They always get the best from everybody. So, but big week for the Cats, big opportunity. But all I gotta say is Kentucky won the breakup. That's all I can say. After this weekend, I mean, to be a Kentucky fan, you got to enjoy yourself. You gotta thank Tyson Chicken after this weekend. But anyways, y'all have a great night. Go Cats. See you tomorrow night on the Big Fuss Show, Brad.
All right,
I appreciate you. I thank you for giving me an opportunity to write for Stadium Rant and what you do, and I always appreciate you, man. Have a good one.
All right, man. We'll see you, John. All right, guys. I'm not going to leave just yet. We got Kentucky taking on Texas A&M and Alabama this week. It's a rough week, guys. I mean, A&M is 11th in the country. I think Bama is 4. I mean, no joke. After 2 rough road games last week, then you get A&M at home. You take on Bama this week. I mean, the SEC is no joke. You look at these teams that are coming up. I think the next 4 games are tough as crap, to be quite honest with you. You're right. Pope is 4-0 versus top 15. So we'll see. He gets 2 more of them this week. But these are going to be tough games, both of them, I think. One thing I do want to mention, talking about Pope, is just the person that he is, and that he's one of us, and how approachable he is. And I have met him, been fortunate enough to be around him a little bit. I've been at some press conferences, 2 or 3. I've stood right beside him. I've shook his hand. Just how approachable he is. The things that he did in Starkville the other night at the Humphrey Coliseum, going up to the top to, talk with a fan that was in a wheelchair, and some of the things that he does, is just simply amazing. I mean, he really is one of us, and just how approachable he is and everything. What's up, Shane? Good to see you here. I agree with all of that, guys. So check out John's article talking about some of that here. John did write an article last night about Pope. I'm going to put that up on the screen a little bit here. We're both writing for Stadium Rant. We both have, I've got a women's, he's got a men's on some of these wins and games that we have been talking about. You can check those out. We both have, I did a women's SEC Power Rankings before this past weekend. John done one, I think, last night on the men's. You can check those out. I've also wrote a piece about Kenny Brooks. John wrote one about Mark Pope. So go to Stadium Rant, go to the college sports section. You should be able to find all of those articles. We have written them in the last 3 or 4 days. You should be able to find all of those under the college sports section at stadiumrant.com. We would appreciate you guys checking those out, sharing them, telling others, and that kind of stuff would be great as well. So we appreciate that. And just want to say thank you guys. And it's going to be a great week. Let me put that up here. $20 years, huh? You think he'll be here 20 years? I mean, listen, I'm not saying he won't. I'm not saying he will. But what I am saying is 20 years is a long, long time to be at Kentucky. He just left. Wireman, he just left. We're fixing to wrap things up, man. He had something to do, so he was here and just left a minute ago. All right, guys, we appreciate it. This has been College SportsCast, the Big Blue HoopsCast, and we want to appreciate you guys, appreciate everybody joining us, and enjoy some Kentucky basketball this week. We got 2 big games for the men's, and then the women's play on Sunday at Georgia. That one is on SEC Plus. So SEC Network Plus. I hope you're right, but 15 is a maybe. 20 is it's hard to coach that long at Kentucky. I would be surprised if he can manage to do 20 years. I'm just saying. I mean, he's 51. They'd put him at 71, 15, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. All right, guys. This has been the Big Blue HoopsCast, and we will see you guys tomorrow night for College SportsCast, the Big Fuss Show. Y'all have a good night.